Hello everyone, welcome to Motovlog on my channel. My name is Marshall3498, and on today's Motovlog is going to be about a specific topic that I'm interested in, and I've done so much research, it's not even funny, and that is what is your favorite dual sport tire, and why. I've noticed this is a Honda 300L what I'm riding, so it is a true dual sport, not an adventure tire. But my problem that I've run across I found a couple different, like the 3 out of the 4 sets of tires that I kind of be interested in. None of them really have the exact stock size for some reason or other. I don't know if this bike has a weird rear compared to some, but the stock size, for those of you who don't know, is a 120/80 18. All the tires that even get close to it are usually a 120. But the main thing is, and I don't know if this matters or not, some of the Honda 300 guys could tell me this, but a lot of them, the rear is a 90, which I know that from tire size and motorcycle tire sizes. That's your height to your sidewall. So, you know, this is still on the stock IRC tires, if you're wondering. But the thing that I'm not sure of is that going to affect the speedometer and the the mile counter, the odometer in total, by being a little bit taller sidewall. Because in my head, if you have a 10 millimeter taller sidewall and the tread is a little bit more aggressive when new, then that in total is going to make it more like a 15 millimeter taller tire in general, right? So is that going to throw off the speedometer and the odometer faster or slower? I don't know. On this bike, and some bikes are that way, I think the Gen 3 KLR, it's actually on the front how the speedometer reads, I think. So on this bike, are you okay with doing that, or is that going to affect it? Now granted, I'll probably have this bike for a long time, but it's not necessarily the mileage that bothers me that much, you know, because if you're running a dedicated GPS or even a phone and it knows how longer to your next turn, it tracks that by your GPS location data. So that's not going to affect that. I understand that, but I don't want, you know, to always have to check my phone or the GPS for the speed I'm going and not the dash. And not only that, if I'm not riding with either one of those at time being, like on just a general ride like this, I don't want to be excessively under the speed limit or under. On this bike, that's not really a thing. I mean, it's fast enough to get out of its own way and to be safe, but you're not going to go down this back road at 100 miles an hour on this bike, because it won't do 100 for starters, and for one, that'd be kind of you know, you're being reckless at that point and breaking the law and being childish, because you're only going to hurt yourself and maybe someone else by you riding like an idiot. But you know, are either one of those things kind of a thing? Like, does it affect it, or does it not throw it off as long as you don't go, like, you know, from an 80 to 100. But the 4 tires that I've really looked at and watched lots of YouTube videos on, like everybody, 4 tires I've checked out are, of course, the Dunlop 606 rear and the 605 front or 606 front. Some people run the Pirelli MT21 front or the Pirelli MT21 front and rear. That's an option, but you know, I do ride this bike a lot on the road, and it's going to be off-road here and there, but it's not going to be like a ton. If I'm being honest with myself, it's probably going to be an 85% on-road, 20% off-road, and that's best case scenario, because I'm going to have to ride a pretty good ways to get to the off-road part, and then it's going to be like 7 or 8 miles long, and then I'm going to have to travel back to the area I live in, 35 miles-ish. You know, it wouldn't even be a 100-mile day, you know, riding all of it total. So I need a tire that's decent. But the only thing that I've found that I like, and I think it would suit my need, is the Bridgestone AX41. I know that tire is not going to last long. None of the dual sport tires last long. They're usually toast at about 3,500 to 4,000 miles. But that's the only one that I've seen that comes in the stock size front and rear. Some of them you can get the stock rear size, but you can't get the stock front. Then you have to run like a 90/90 front tire. And this bike, stock is I can't even remember now. So many numbers in my head. But the Tusk Waypoint, that's another one. And the Tusk D-Sport. And both of those have the same problem in the rear as like I was talking about, that the tire size is not the same exactly in the rear. The Pirelli, the MT21s, you can get that in the rear in this size, because on this bike, a 130 is, you're pushing it because it can hit the muffler or the toolbox, because it's not only a narrow swing arm, but a narrow opening around all the plastics. So you can't put like a 140 on it and just rip it and be like, it'll be fine. No, you can't. Some people probably have, I'm sure, but I'm not going to risk it myself, not only hurting the bike, but hurting myself, to go to like a 140 rear. I'm just not going to do it. And you know, the stock, what was that? Car, I literally heard it like kick up a rock or something. That was weird. But, you know, there's a lot there, and I don't want to do that. And I don't know why more manufacturers don't make, you know, of course I could go the Shinko 244 that a lot of people run in the Tro 125s, but I think that's the same thing too. Or some people run a Golden Boy, which is really the same tire tread, pretty close that I've seen. But I don't know. It's yet to be seen what I can really run tire-wise. I know there's lots of options. There's stuff that's close, but I really want to know from my listeners in the comments. Like, I've looked on Facebook, like the 300L groups, and everybody says that, but nobody really says, oh yeah, it's not on the same tire size. So, and nobody really talks about it. Like, but yes, there's like 4 different kind of dual sport tires. They're really off-road, like base, just like the Motaz, right, Tractionator, the regular one, not the Rally. You can get the Rally in a rear, but you can't get the regular Adventure in the front, or for the rear. But the front is the dual Adventure. They have that size, but not the rear, which to me is very strange. Like, why would you have the one size for the bike and not make more stock size for the rear? Because I'm sure, you know, there are some dual sports that run like a 17 rear. Maybe Motaz has, you know, a thing where they cater more to adventure bike, not the dual sport. Maybe you have to go to that much more an aggressive tire. And I don't really want to go like a 90-10, a 90% off-road, if I could help it. I don't know. I've still got more tire stuff to figure out. You would think it'd be as simple as just go buy a tire. But, you know, it's not like, sport turn tires like I'm FJR. It's not like, yeah, I need a 180 rear on a 17-inch wheel. It's not really, to me, it's not really that easy or that less complicated. And, you know, I enjoy this bike. I like riding it. It's a lot of fun. You know, it gets really good gas mileage. It's not the greatest at doing stuff like this, the little 4-lane stuff, because it's so lightweight that it gets kicked around a little bit. But, you know, that's because it's a dual sport and not, a 500-pound adventure bike. They don't do that well in that kind of scenario, unfortunately. But I don't know. We'll see. I'm still doing more tire research, and I like the Bridgestone AX41. From what I can tell, that's a good happy medium. Like it's really like a 60%, 40% tire, meaning 6% off-road, 40% street. The lugs aren't super tall, but they are fairly aggressive. But they're not as tall as like a knobby but yet the tread is still spaced out, which tells me it'll do better off-road riding. I've watched several channels that really like those tires, and even on the big adventure bikes, a lot of people seem to like those too. But all I got on today's motovlog. If you've not already done so, please like, share, subscribe, leave a comment down below. Ride safe, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.